What's going on, guys? Chaseontwowheels here in front of Mountain Motorsports in Roswell, Georgia, and in front of me I have Yamaha's 2024 Tenere 700. Guys, somehow I make a living reviewing motorcycles, and I have never been on a T7 to this day. So this one's going to be really interesting. This one is the upgraded version. It's not the very first version. It's got some other stuff. We'll talk through it in the video. Stick around to the end, where I decide if this is a purchase or a pass, and it might actually be a real purchase if it's as good as everybody says it's going to be. It's a first ride. Let's see what it looks like. Let's see what it sounds like. I was told to do that on Instagram, sorry. Alrighty, my friends, that's what it looks like. That's what it sounds like. Now, this video is not sponsored, but it is supported by WBRgarage.com. That's our website where we buy motorcycles, make videos on them for you guys, and then we give the motorcycles back to you guys. If you guys want to get a chance to win, all you got to do is go to WBRgarage.com, grab a membership, grab merch, whatever you do, the website will give you entries automatically under your account. We're currently giving away a CF Moto 450 SS as well as a 300 SS. So for this season, you actually have double the chances of winning a motorcycle. We've been doing that show for a while now. A lot of you guys are members. We really appreciate the support. It allows us to make this awesome content for you guys. So we'll have a top link in the description down below if you guys want to check it out. And otherwise, we got a bike to ride. It kind of looks like, oh my God, that screen's almost as big as my actual phone. That's hilarious. Shout out to Qualog for sponsoring the First Ride Show. You guys know we love them. We wouldn't trust our phone mounts to anybody else. I'm going to be honest, guys. I have intentionally avoided this motorcycle because y'all know I'm new to the ADV space, and I love the CP2. That's the engine that's inside of this bike. It's the same engine as in the MT-07. It's the same engine as the R7. I think it's a phenomenal platform, and I'm worried about this one. Let's get it cranked up. First off, guys, I'm 5'10", got a 32-inch inseam, and my legs can barely touch the ground. But with my Revit ADV boots on, I can barely flat foot. So definitely leaning towards the taller rider situation. If you're a shorter rider, you are going to be leaning this bike over quite a bit. Alrighty. Oh, that Yamaha Parallel Twin is great. Alright, guys. Oh, we have no modes, but we do have ABS modes. I'll show you guys if you just hold the scroll wheel in, and don't worry, we'll talk about the scroll wheel here in a minute. ABS mode. We have ABS on, rear ABS off, and ABS off. So we're going to go with regular ABS since this is a road course. We will not be doing any off-road, unfortunately. All right, guys. Bike's in gear. Let's get it going. Also, guys, before we get too far into it, if you guys didn't know, we have a Discord channel full of awesome motorcycle nutheads just like yourselves. If you guys want to hang out with us, I'll have a link in the description for that as well. And you guys can go check out what Discord's about. It's just full of motorcycle dudes that enjoy riding motorcycles. Can we go? I think we can. Are there cops? I love this bike. I love the CP2. It's so fantastic. Alrighty, guys. T7. Chase is finally on it. Thank you, Jesus. And unfortunately for my wallet. This bike is almost like the pinnacle of middleweight ADV. And from what I can tell online, people absolutely love this motorcycle for the off-road capabilities that it has. So I'm really interested to see how those off-road capabilities are going to translate on a road course. I'm fascinated. All right, so guys, body position wise, one, the seat is slightly firm and it's kind of thin. The top half of my body is upright. My arms are stretched out relatively far to reach the handlebars. You know, I'm 5'10", regular sized guy. My arms are reaching to get to the handlebars. And then my legs are in a very comfortable position, but I am noticing that a part of the engine is sticking out and hitting my boot. So we'll have to keep an eye on that based on where my foot is. Overall, really comfortable body position. And I wish the seat was a little more comfortable if I wanted to do some sort of touring stuff on it, but overall, really solid. Foot pegs seem like a really good size. You know, off-road, you're going to be standing up a lot. But pretty solid body position. I'm comfortable here. Oh, man, let me change the modes because we're at that red light. Just kidding, no modes. CP2 engine don't need no modes. Also, I should note, if I sound weird in this video, guys, it's because we've had so much pollen in Georgia here recently. My allergies have been out the wazoo, so my breathing's terrible, my voice is terrible. It's just because Mother Nature's trying to replicate itself. No problems there, just letting you know in case you notice it. All right, guys, let's talk about city performance on the T7 here. Now, if you guys didn't know, the T7 does have a 21-inch front wheel and an 18-inch rear wheel. And because of that, that larger front wheel is going to make it not as fast to flick back and forth. That being said, the bike only comes in at, I think, like 453 pounds. So it is a relatively light bike for this segment. So it doesn't take a lot of energy to get the bike going left and right. But what it does is, with that big rear tire, it does take some time for the bike to flick over. So not a good thing or a bad thing, just something to keep in mind with having that difference. I will say it's kind of strange to have a bike that feels so light, but then when you lean it to the side, it takes a second for the tracking of that wheel to go over. It's kind of weird because you expect a really light bike to just throw left and right, and it does, but then it takes time to get that tracking over. One of the nice things about being on a taller bike is getting your feet on the ground. It's super simple. All right, so guys, so let's talk about the engine real quick. So CP2, same engine as in all the bikes I referred to earlier. You're looking at around 70 horsepower and 50-ish foot-pounds of torque, and absolutely ample. By the way, just like the MT-07, this bike is an absolute wheelie monster. We're going to talk more about that throughout this video, but what I've experienced on the road is, other than the tracking taking a little time because of that front wheel, this bike gives me the older brother of my WR250. The power is really punchy, the engine braking is incredibly hard, and the suspension, it's very strange. When we were doing the camera car, I got a little wheelie happy a couple times, and the suspension is so strange here in city streets. You know, you get it in second gear and you just clutch it up. It comes up so easily, and the suspension kind of settles you in it. This bike might be easier to wheelie than the MT-07, and the MT-07 is currently my wheelie king. It's the easiest bike I've ever had to wheelie. I think this one might be easier to wheelie. So how does that engine perform in the city? It's fantastic. These slower speeds with that really punchy engine, you're going to have plenty of power to jump in and around traffic. And when you guys ride this motorcycle, you're going to realize how thin this bike feels. It's a very tall bike, but also a very thin motorcycle. So between that and the engine characteristics, you feel like you're on this tall, slender, punchy bike that you can just kind of flick in and out of areas, it just makes for a really fun ride that I've had a really good time on so far. Oh my god, this engine is so fun. There's a reason the CP2 is in my top 3 favorite power plants. There's something about the way the CP2 delivers power where it's a parallel twin, it's very punchy down low, and then it does kind of die off high up. You don't, you're not gonna gain by revving this engine out, but the level of power you get mixed with the controllability, there's just a real secret sauce that Yamaha has hit on with this. And one of the other things that makes that happen is the cable actuated clutch and throttle. So you are actually connected to the motorcycle, and I think that's one of the keys of the MT-07 and the Tenere 700 is that you actually feel like you are doing something to the engine of the bike when you're pulling the clutch in, when you're giving it throttle. A lot of these bikes are cable actuated, and what you're doing is you're twisting the throttle and then telling a computer to make you go faster. And this bike is old school, and that's kind of what Yamaha is championing with this bike. It's, look, you're not going to have a lot of the frills. You are going to have you and a motorcycle, and we'll put ABS in there so you don't kill yourself. Like, that's all this bike is. But I think the experience that offers is unlike anything else, because I love tech in bikes. I really do. I love the real techie stuff, but I also appreciate the opposite end of that. Speaking of the opposite end of that, we have the 40 to 80 pull. And now, I don't know how this is going to go, but I am kind of worried about the highway on this bike. It's very thin and very tall, and relatively light, and I don't know how it's going to do on the highway. And as an ADV bike, I do want it does need to do good for me personally, so we'll see how it goes up here. All right, guys, time to do the job. We have to see how fast the 2024 Yamaha Tenere 700 goes from 40 miles an hour to 80 miles an hour. Thanks to our buddies over at Law Tigers. If you guys need a motorcycle lawyer, they are our friends. Check those guys out. Highly recommend them. All right. Here we go. She's at 40. We're in third. I'm feeling like it's a third gear sitch. We'll let these cars get a little ahead of us before we try it out. All right, guys. Here we go. 40 to 80 on your mark. Get set, go. That was quick. Sorry. And there's 80. Okay, we need to get into this traffic. Here we go. Look at the cars getting over on us. Thank you guys so much. So as you guys can see, it does taper off that power relatively quickly once you get out of that lower torquey zone. Stuff to keep in mind. Here on the highway, though, we got ample power. We're in 6th gear going a little over 80, and I got no problem giving it more power, and it's got some in the tank. So as far as wind resistance here on the highway, you guys can see ahead of me, I don't have a really big screen. I'm getting some bobbling on my head and in my shoulders. That's where I'm feeling the wind the most. My body's not bad, which is good because it's upright. So if it was like pushing me back, that would be a problem. Now, as far as agility here on the highway, I am noticing that 21-inch front tire is helping to keep the bike tracking. We have an incredibly windy day here today. And I was a little worried about such a thin, tall bike that I would get blown around. But it seems like that 21-inch front tire is helping the bike just stay where it is in the lane. I do appreciate that. And it seems like shaking-wise, we're not getting a lot of shaking at all. Even going 6th gear, about 5,000 RPM, the bike is incredibly smooth. Suspension's doing a great job of soaking everything up. I am very comfortable here. Now, we don't have any tech, as I described earlier, so that means we don't have cruise control, which really sucks, but I also, I get why. I totally understand why Yamaha's going away from tech in this bike, and I don't think they should add it, if I'm going to be honest. Luckily, the throttle's relatively light. I've got no problem. I can literally just rest my hand on top, and it holds the throttle open. So at least for that, that's not too big of a deal. Would I like to have cruise control? Yeah. Would I like to have cruise control and sacrifice the connection I have with this bike? Absolutely not. That connection is far more important. Overall, maybe I would get one of those little windscreen deflectors at the top that shoots the air over my head. I don't really care that much about my shoulders bobbling, but I do care about my head bobbling around. But other than that, this thing's fantastic. So guys, while I finish up the highway, we're going to do a little montage thanks to our buddies at Cardo. They are providing the music that I'll be listening to. If you guys need a device to listen to music or talk to your buddies, Cardo is the only people I would trust. And I got a discount code for you in the description down below. I'm going to finish up the highway, and I'll see you guys in a second. Alrighty guys, that's it for the highway. Is it tourable? Absolutely. That front wheel really does help out, even with it being a lighter motorcycle. Let's get off the highway. Thank you, Cardo, for sponsoring. Let's see how she does leaning over. Same situation, that front tire just doesn't want you to just lean in quickly. But once you're here, this is where the lightweight of that bike comes in a lot of handy. It's super easy to just get it in a line and go. Feels totally good. I could have gone so much faster over that. Goodness gracious. Yamaha has this engine dialed so well, dude. I gotta say, man, this video is doing nothing but confirming for me that the CP2 is a top 3 power plant. End of story. You cannot convince me otherwise. Yamaha has so many things dialed with it where it delivers power in such a fun, connected way. I absolutely love it. Now, let's talk about this suspension. KYB front and rear, and it's adjustable, which is my biggest deal. I would rather have an adjustable suspension than a better suspension that's non-adjustable. Because that way, are you a heavier rider? Do you have luggage? Do you have a passenger? You can actually accommodate for these things in your suspension if you give me an adjustable suspension. Also, the suspension has over 8 inches of suspension travel up front, and it has almost 8 in the rear, which is going to be absolutely plenty for off-road riding. I've seen some comments of people saying they don't like the suspension, and obviously this is a road course, I'm not taking it off-road, but so far the suspension's been great. Maybe it's dialed perfectly for me, but I love this. The suspension has this, it's kind of slow to react up front, but then it gets very comfortable afterwards. I don't know. I'm not great at defining suspension yet, but I really love the way it feels. It's almost like front dampened, and then it becomes more like adjusted afterwards. I don't even know, dude. I love the way it feels, especially when I'm wheeling it, which I'm definitely not.
What's this, you piece of shit? What's this?
But, like when I wheelie the bike, it's kind of slow to come up, and then it just kind of settles in and becomes really comfortable. I love it a lot. Speaking of the brakes, I was looking up this stuff on the Yamaha's website. Yamaha doesn't say anything other than technically what the brakes are. Bro, they're Brembo front and rear. I don't know why Yamaha's not shooting that from the rooftops, but I guess obviously Brembo's a great name for brakes. And slamming on the brakes. This thing will come to a stop. Honestly, for Brembos, I kind of would have expected them to come to a stop faster, but very capable on there. A little smooth. I wish I had a little more upfront bite on the brakes, but overall, absolutely fantastic. Also, what does this button do? It says ABS on, and I press it, and nothing on the screen happens. One of you smarter people in the comments, let me know. I have done such a good job of not wheeling this bike in this video. I am so proud of myself. All right, guys, let's talk about the controls up here, because that is where a lot of the changes, or all of the changes that have happened for this newer MT-07. So first off, all of the controls feel very Yamaha. They get a really good click. They don't feel overly premium because there's a lot of plastic and stuff going on, But as far as the feel that you're going to get from those controls, absolute top notch. And yes, that is the dreaded scroll wheel. Yamaha put the scroll wheel in the T7, those bastards. It is what it is. You don't have a ton of settings you have to change, so there's not really a lot you're going to have to use that for, but it is here. Now, as far as those levers, we do have silver levers here. They are adjustable, which we do appreciate very much. I wish they were black, and they're very polished, so it's kind of hard to get a good grip on them. I would change those levers out absolutely ASAP if I owned this motorcycle. I do appreciate that they have hand guards here. I'd probably swap those out for some bark busters, though, if I were to purchase the bike. But overall, everything feels good. I want more of a rubbery grip, though, but they hold on pretty well. Let's go to the screen. The screen is a big change for this year. It used to have that very old school screen like my MT10 has, which was fine. There's not a lot of tech, but now we've got this little TFT color dash. And one of the other updates is that you can turn the ABS on the rear off. You can have all the ABS on, or you can have all the ABS off. So that's the only rider aids that this bike offers. So that's really cool that you're able to turn the ABS on the rear off for off-road riding. Kind of love that. And overall, everything's been solid. I do feel like the clutch is adjusted to where the release point is a little far out even after I adjusted it. So maybe a little adjustment there, but you can probably fix that with a aftermarket lever. And everything else feels solid. The shiftings felt great. You know when you get into a gear. That being said, Yamaha does offer a factory quick shifter for this bike if you want it. But from what I understand, it's up only. So that is what it is. I haven't really found the need for wanting a quick shifter yet while I've been riding, but that's the info. One of the other things I've been surprised about with this bike is just how well balanced it is. So I can easily get this bike going registered 0 miles an hour and still keep the balance going, even just barely moving. Which I was kind of surprised about, because when I saw how tall the bike is, because when you guys see one of these in person, it's massive. It is a huge bike, especially for a 700. And you're like, man, that's going to be an odd bike. As you can tell, the tall thinness of it kind of was weird for me. But after riding it, Yamaha has struck such a balance and such a great spot. I can totally understand why they have not adjusted this motorcycle that much. I think they've just realized they hit a home run with it, and if you make a bike that good, like, don't mess it up. That's your job. All right, so guys, you guys have been looking at all that camera car footage thanks to our sponsors, so I know you guys know what the bike looks like. Also, you guys that support our sponsors directly supports us. So if you guys see a company sponsoring the show, I really appreciate when you guys support those companies. It's basically like supporting us. So always check those links in the description to find out how you can support. But I want to get around and do a little walk around of this bike. I do think it's a very iconic look at this point. So we're going to come off over here and do a little walk around. And hopefully nobody is doing things in a church parking lot that they shouldn't be doing. Alrighty. Oh my God.
Run.
I will not elaborate anymore on that. There's no cars, so nobody can be having
dinner
in this parking lot. Hopefully. I don't know why I'm looking around. I don't want to find that. Alrighty, my friends. 2024 Yamaha Tenere 700. The icon in front of us. This is the ADV bike that you buy if you know you want to be doing off-road with it. The stuff I've seen people do with a T7 is absolute lunacy. From this side profile, you guys can really see how tall the bike is up front, and look how much ground clearance this bike has. Insert the ground clearance there. Fantastic, super light engine, super tiny. It makes the bike be so thin. Like, look at this, guys. Look how thin the overall bike is. Absolutely fantastic. Exhaust is huge. It's way too much. Get that off. Get the tail tidy. And bro, what else do you do? My buddy Moto Feels has a fantastic Tenere 700. I'll put a link for his channel in the description. He does all types of camping and stuff on his channel, so if you guys are into that type of thing, definitely a channel you want to check out. But I love this so much. Oh my God, if it wasn't illegal to wheelie, I would be doing it so much more. Oh man. But yeah, that's the 21-inch front tire, the 18 in the rear. So guys, I'm going to grab my phone off of my quad lock, and I'm going to record some stuff for our peeps over on Instagram and TikTok. If you guys want to check out the exclusive stuff we make over there, we're at Chaseontwowheels on TikTok, and we're at C2Pics on Instagram. I'm going to film that stuff, and I'll be right back. Alrighty, my friends, that is it for the walk around. God, I really want this bike. It's a problem. Now, I can set the bike on the quad lock. So, to finish the video up, guys, we got to talk about who the bike's for. We got to talk about if it's a purchase or pass. And we have to do all that after we do the steering stem lock test. And I've got to be honest with you guys. There's something I haven't mentioned in this video so far. First, steering stem lock test. Good God. I would say upper 30 percentile. Nice job, Tenere. Okay. Guys, there's something I haven't mentioned in this entire video. Now, I am aware that a lot of you guys watch my first rides and you almost judge the bikes on how much they make me laugh. I know a lot of you guys do this. And I realize that I have not been laughing that much in this video, which, by that definition, would imply that I'm not having as good of a time as I have on other bikes. I realized I could skew your thought process on what you think of this bike. I don't want it to do that. I want you guys to realize that the reason I am not laughing and the reason that I have avoided this bike for years is because, one, I was scared about ADV, but I've already broken that cherry now. I'm already getting into the ADV space and I realize it's a place I want to explore. Two, I absolutely love the CP2 engine. I loved it in the R7. I loved it in the MT-07. And I don't think I'm insane in saying that this is the best platform I have tried the CP2 in. Now, this bike comes at a price tag of $10,800 if you can find one in your local dealer. Every review online spews how much they love this bike. Sometimes that's true, sometimes that's not for everybody. I knew if I rode this bike and it was as good as everybody says it is, then I would have a real big problem because I don't have 11 grand. Now, the reason I have not been giggling this entire first ride is because while recording it, I have been thinking how many organs I have to sell to be able to afford this. This bike, by the way, it's a purchase. Hopefully you guys understand that. Purchase or pass, purchase, go buy the motorcycle, 10 out of 10, you won't be sad. Now, why is it so much of a purchase? Because this motorcycle hits on an essence of motorcycling that a lot of bikes just can't touch. There is some unvocalizable thing that some bikes just hit everything perfectly. I don't know if it's because of the cable clutch and the cable throttle and it makes you feel like you're attached to the bike. The MT-07 had a lot of that. This bike, I feel like, has even more about that. I don't know if it's because the bike is really light and thin and it throws me back to my Supermoto days where I had my little 250. I don't know if it's the torquey little CP2 that's super easy to wheelie and almost easier to just keep it up. I don't know exactly the combination that Yamaha has hit on this bike, but it has the scroll wheel that I hate, and it doesn't have cruise control, which I hate, and somehow I could not give less of a shit that any of those things are not present in this motorcycle. I can authentically tell you guys that I have been struggling with this mentality of what bike do I have to sell to get this?
Just take all my money. Oh, not this soon, not this soon. Ah!
And what do I want to do to it when I get it? Like what fairing, like wrap do I want to put on it? What gear and what mods? I am so excited to want to figure out how to get one of these and make it my own that I have been distracted, and I apologize to you guys because I realize that this video might not have been as exciting. This video will probably sell less T7s because of that. And because of that, I've done a disservice to this motorcycle, and I did want to apologize for that. I will own a T7 at some point in time. I don't know how soon or how far down the road, but at some point, I am going to get one of these bikes, and I am going to have the best time of my life on it. I don't know what else to say. I feel like that's a place I can kind of end on. Holy this this bike is literally everything everybody says it was, and I haven't even taken it off-road. I was worried. I was worried that only people that go off-road would enjoy this bike, and I thought I was gonna have a bad review because it was road only. And that is not at all the case. Yamaha, if I had cruise control on this bike, I would put it on and I would give you a golf clap. You know what? Yamaha has made a gem of a motorcycle, and I implore you guys to go check it out because holy shit. Anyways, guys, thank you so much to Mountain Motorsports. That's the dealership we started at. That's who's letting us loan this bike out. If you guys want to check out this bike or any of the other bikes they have in their inventory, they've got like 5 locations here in North Georgia. We'll have a link for a bike provided by in the description down below. Go check it out if you're in the market for a motorcycle. Guys, I'm Chaseontwowheels. I appreciate you making it to the end of the video. If you did, you're in the outro cruise. I see you guys that make it all the way through. It's a massive help when you guys watch the whole video, and I really appreciate that. If you could for me, like the video and let me know in the comments down below what's a motorcycle that you knew about and everybody said was good, but when you rode it, it was somehow even better. Let me know if you guys have experienced that on a bike before. And I'll see you on the next one. You guys go out there and ride safe, and I hope you guys go out there and find a bike that's as awesome for you as the T7 has been for me in this video. Y'all go out there and ride safe. We got a first ride playlist in the description down below, blah, 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 stuff. I had a feeling this would happen, but I kind of almost hoped it wouldn't. But now I'm like, what bikes? Like, what does my garage look like now? Because now I have to have a T7. I just... Fuck! Sorry, Chris. Should have warned you on the audio there.